What is up, everyone? We're back again with another review, and this is going to be for the 1978 film Halloween, and this is directed by John Carpenter and stars Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence. This tells the story of an escaped madman who comes home on Halloween night and goes on a murder spree. Welcome to my Halloween review series, everyone, and there is no better place to start, is there, than the 1978 John Carpenter classic, a film which has spawned 12 more movies after this one, believe it or not, if you count the one in the works in Halloween Ends at the time of this filming, and I plan on reviewing all of these films in this little series I've started here. But this original is one with a massive fan base. People seem to be infatuated with this film, and I've even seen websites and podcasts dedicated to this one movie, trying to pick it apart and make understanding of it and stuff. But these are just my thoughts after revisiting this film. So what do I think of Halloween? Let's get into it. Well, I think this can be the perfect example of simple but effective. It's not much to the story, just an escaped madman from an asylum who comes to Haddonfield and stalks and kills a few babysitters. But it's the way that this movie is made and all the things it has going for it along the way, which all come together to make it one of the greatest horror movies ever made. This is also known to some people as the very first slasher. Arguably, that could be Black Christmas, but it does actually feel like Halloween has made that claim for me personally, with the amount of sequels that we've got here that came not too long after. It just feels like the first true slasher movie to me in the subgenre. Now, I've seen people even claim that this isn't a slasher because it wasn't intended that way. And that's what I mean when I see people who are infatuated with this film. I think they're looking too deep with that because it's about a guy who kills babysitters. I mean, you don't get much more slasher than that, do you? And because there's so much to talk about with this movie, it's hard to decide where to start. Now, I don't really begin many of my movie reviews with the music, but I feel like with Halloween, I have to. It's kind of like the movie Jaws, where most of the film works because of the theme that it has going for. And John Carpenter's created an absolutely brilliant piece of music here, didn't he? It's creepy, atmospheric, it's right in your face, and it's kind of just like the Michael Myers theme tune. I mean, if you see Michael Myers on the street, which you probably won't ever, you expect that music to just be going along with it, don't you? It's just something that makes the movie work together. Like, it's a piece of string going throughout the film, and all these great things are attached to it. So for me, it just definitely is one of, if not the biggest positive of Halloween 1978. Every time I hear this theme, I just want to watch Halloween. Now, I never get tired of hearing this creepy ass piece of music, but it's not even that. Throughout the film, it's played at all the right times. I mean, whether it's the whole theme or just snippets of it, John Carpenter just knows when to press that play button, and that is a testament to not just creating a brilliant piece of music, but also how to utilise it within the film. Now, this movie is just perfect to watch on Halloween night. I feel like if you just dim the lights, light some candles, and throw Halloween on with a bunch of snacks and get comfy on the couch, it doesn't get much better of a Halloween night than that now, does it? And this has greatly helped in the movie as well to get that feeling because of Haddonfield and the whole look and the way this place is kind of decorated by the townsfolk. There's pumpkins just lying on the sides of houses. There's kids trick-or-treating very early on in the movie and they're all in the mood. It's kind of like Haddonfield's Christmas. I mean, it feels like Halloween is the special time of their town in this movie, and that always gets me in the mood even more when I'm watching it for the holiday season. Not to mention all the kids in this town teasing each other about the boogeyman walking the streets, but he really is. Now, I feel like this is, again, some of the biggest positives about the film, where Michael is just kind of got his eyes on Laurie there. Whether it be Laurie in the classroom and just looking out the window, one minute he's there and then he isn't, or other times where he's hiding behind some bushes just looking creepy as fuck and she's on edge. But one moment that really gets me all the time, and I just go, oh man, that is creepy as hell is where Michael drives past her. He looks at her through the car, and then as he goes past, he just tilts his head there. That is so simple, but so effective, like a lot of this film. It's things like that, the small things, where John Carpenter gets big impacts. Another scene kind of like this as well, where the bully, Lonnie, in this film is teasing Tommy Doyle, and they make Tommy drop his pumpkin. Lonnie runs away and then runs straight into Michael Myers there. We don't see the whole of him, we just see kind of his arms and stuff grab onto Lonnie, but it's a great moment. Why? Because the music again. Like all the scenes I've just mentioned with Laurie there, and this scene, John Carpenter just puts all them musical notes in at the right times once again, and that's why all these scenes are great. Like I said, the bit of string there, which the music is, these are all the great things attached to it that play on that theme. So it's a big part of the movie, it really is, but credit to John Carpenter for mixing the directing with the theme of the music that he created. Speaking of Michael Myers though, horror icon was born here, wasn't he? From that very first scene in the movie where he kills his young sister and then he is unmasked, he's standing there with a knife, you just know this kid is born to kill, born pure evil.
Michael?
And the even simple look of Michael is just great as well. It's just a William Shatner mask, spray painted white, but it makes the eyes look so dark and black. And just to throw a jumpsuit on him, I mean, it's just simple but effective once again. It's kind of genius, really. And Nick Castle just got Michael down to a T here. The way he walks, the way he moves, he's just exactly like a deranged killer should be. And this was the blueprint for every person who played Michael going forward in future movies. And yet, because of Michael killing his sister in the house at the start of the movie, the Myers house sort of becomes a character within itself, if that makes sense, because Tommy Doyle is walking the streets telling everyone not to go near there. It's a forbidden place, you shouldn't walk up the path, you shouldn't go near it, bad things have happened there. And John Carpenter does actually use the house as well, with Michael looking out the window of the door frame there, you know, just spying on Laurie, seeing who's coming up the house. So it's not just used in the first scene of the film, it's kind of used throughout as this location of dread, if you like. Donald Pleasence even later on is, you know, hiding there, waiting for Michael to come up. So I do like the way John Carpenter incorporates the Myers house as a piece of history of Haddonfield, if you like. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you hang around the streets with your friends and you know that some places you shouldn't go near, even though they were complete myths made up by us. That's what it kind of feels like when Tommy's going on about it and stuff. But something really did happen in this movie. Of course, not every character or house is evil in this movie. We've got to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode here, because she is a big part of this franchise and this movie in general. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys here. I am not a massive fan of Jamie Lee Curtis. She's just an actress that doesn't really do it for me. But what I will give her is her role in the first Halloween film. I think she's excellent in this. It's definitely my favourite role of hers. I like the way she has something about her compared to her two friends. She is the more sensible one. She doesn't kind of get in on the jokes and stuff. She remains very level-headed, but the way Michael is spying on her all the time just gives her that little bit more of a characterization. It makes her feel like a more important character to the movie, because Michael is kind of attached to her for some reason, which we find out later on in the next sequels, of course. But I can see why people see her as the definitive Scream queen, or their favourite final girl, because she's exceptional in this movie. Her two friends, Annie and Linda, as well, are always fun to be around. I mean, I don't think they're the best actresses in the world, and you can definitely tell why Jamie Lee Curtis went on to better things compared to them two. But they have a certain charm about them, if you like. I like the way Annie is always making fun of Laurie because she won't get involved with boys and stuff, or, you know, she never comes out of her comfort zone, and Annie just doesn't care. And at one point in the movie, even Laurie Strode says, "You could do that, I couldn't," about asking a boy to the prom. But I absolutely love the way Linda as well just says totally all the time. Like, nearly every sentence she says in this film involves the word totally. Like, Annie says, "You didn't wait till for me," and she goes, "You totally never showed."
Three new cheers to learn in the morning. The game is in the afternoon. I have to get my hair done at 5, and the dance is at 8. I'll be totally wiped out.
I don't think you have enough to do tomorrow.
Totally.
However, I do think my favourite character in the whole film has to be Dr. Loomis, played by Pleasence. When you're younger or a teenager, you just watch this film for the kills, see Michael going up against Laurie, and to be a little bit afraid at times. But the more I watch this and the older I get, the more I appreciate Dr. Loomis as a character. I love the way he's just this straight up talking hard ass who will stop at nothing to stop Michael. He gets angry at people all the time and stuff because no one's listening to him. And even the times when he described Michael, like he had the devil's eyes and stuff, I just think that's all just great because he knows him more than anyone. And I love the way he drip feeds the viewer information about Michael Myers, because Michael is mysterious enough and we're learning these little snippets off Dr. Loomis there. So for me, he's not just a great character, but a very important one to this film as well.
And then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
He just has some really good moments too. Now, I don't know if this is just my humour, but I always laugh at certain parts of the film where Dr. Loomis has these scenes. One of them is where he's driving up to the asylum with the nurse at the start of the film and everyone has escaped. This is where Michael escapes the asylum and all the people who were instituted are just walking around the grounds, and the nurse says, "What should we do?" And he goes, "Drive up to the entrance." And she goes, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "Go on, move." Just sort of shouts in her face there. Or later on, where he's outside the Myers house, like I mentioned before, Lonnie and his friends are daring each other to knock on the door, and he hides from behind the bushes and goes, "Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there." And the kids run away. It's just scared to death. And Loomis just comes out the bushes like this, pulling his face. It just kills me every single time. So he's kind of a funny character as well. But like I said, that just might be my humour there. As far as some of the kills go in this film, I don't think they're too memorable, in all honesty. But for me, that's not a negative, because like I said, this is a very simple but effective film, and the kills don't have to be these big creative things. This came out in 1978, where people were just getting used to the slasher genre, really. And I think if these kills were way too creative and way too over the top, like bloody Jason in Friday the 13th swinging a guy round in a sleeping bag, I just don't think this film would be as good. I think it would actually have a negative impact on the film. So for me, I'm happy to let the sequels do all that work. One moment though, where Linda is waiting for Paul to come back to bed after going to get her a beer, and Michael kills him. Michael comes back up the stairs with a sheet over his head and Paul's glasses there. Now for me, that is a very iconic standout moment of the film. This is just before he kills Linda. It's almost a killer with a killer outfit on, if you like. And we all know cartoon ghosts and stuff. They look like just white sheets, don't they? And I like the way the movie kind of plays on that as a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek moment, if you like. I think it's a pretty awesome scene as well when Laurie goes to investigate the house where Annie and Linda are because she hasn't heard anything. And bodies are just turning up left, right and centre. It's kind of like a over-the-top haunted house, if you like, you know, that you see at the fun fair and stuff. And we see this a lot in movies now, these bodies just appearing in places and scaring the viewer and the character in the film. But Halloween from 1978 was one of the first to do that. And in this moment, it contains one of the best pieces of directing from John Carpenter, where Laurie is just scared to death and there's pitch blackness behind her, and Michael's William Shatner mask just appears from out the darkness there. I just think that's an awesome little touch there from Carpenter. Also, I know it's pointed out a lot by people who watch this movie countless times that Lindsay and Tommy, who are getting babysat by Laurie, are actually watching The Thing from the 60s there, which was one of John Carpenter's favourite movies, and then he went on to direct the sequel. Just a fun little Easter egg. I also think that the whole boogeyman chase at the end, where Laurie coat hangers Michael in the eye, after all that, we just see the most fantastic ending, don't we? Where Laurie's in trouble, Dr. Loomis comes to the rescue and shoots Michael over the balcony 6 times. We think that's the end of him. Then we look over the balcony and there's nothing there. And the Halloween theme music kicks in once again. But what is so effective about this, apart from Dr. Loomis's face there looking all shocked, is we've been led to believe all the way through the movie that this is just a human being. And then he might very well be something else. And we have to process that thought while the credits roll. I just think that is an absolutely incredible ending. The 2 bookends of this film are brilliant. What a start and what a finish. Doing all this on a budget as well just shows that you can really squeeze things out of something so little. Carpenter, how he made this film and the budget he had is nothing short of a miracle really, but he done it with all the hard work, with effective thinking and his creative mind, and it's no wonder that he is one of the most beloved and best directors of all time. Now, there are a couple of things that do irk me about Halloween. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but I just gotta mention this. I don't really see it in reviews or anything when people talk about this movie, but when Paul is in the car with Linda, he says, I'm going to rip your clothes off, then I'm going to rip my clothes off, and then I'm going to rip Lindsay's clothes off. Lindsay's an 8-year-old girl in this movie. It just seems totally out of place, the dialogue here. Now, I know this is 1978, but I still don't think paedophilia is accepted back then, and I just think, man, you're a fucking paedophile. It just takes me out the movie for a few minutes there. It's just a weird moment. And there's also a few old cliches thrown in here, but I say old cliches, there wasn't really too many before this, but these things just annoy me a little bit. Like, when Michael is always looking at Laurie, like I said, through the classroom and stuff, there's one moment when she looks out of her backyard and he's literally fucking stood there. And she goes and lies on the bed and goes, calm yourself down, relax. And I'm like, what? He's fucking stood in your garden? Or later on, the biggest horror cliche of all time is when Laurie stabs Michael and then just drops the knife in the same room as him. What do you think's going to happen there? I understand that this is an old slasher, so I can forgive it for that a little bit, but I can't help but notice it every time I watch the movie. Also, when Michael is unmasked to reveal Tony Moran's face under there, I kind of wish that wasn't in the film. I do think that they could have cut that moment out. I feel like the entire movie would have been a little bit more effective even though it is one of the most effective films of all time. If we didn't see that and it was just kept more of a mystery. I don't hate it, I just prefer not to have it. However, this is still a bona fide horror classic, and it's still very, very watchable today. It's not too dated in my opinion, even with the cliches in there. And it's just a film that actually gets better every single time I watch it. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Halloween a 9 out of 10. In my opinion, this is John Carpenter's best movie. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Halloween is that just on this £300,000 budget, this movie took in $47 million, making it one of the most successful independent movies of all time. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this Halloween 1978 review. What are your thoughts on Halloween? Leave them down below in the comments. I'll try and get back to every single one of you, I promise. Don't forget to like this video and give it a subscribe so you can keep up with all my other Halloween reviews as well. Halloween 2 coming up next. You don't want to miss it. Thanks so much guys. Take it all easy and I'll see you all in the next video.